Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 31st meeting of the Justice Committee. Before we begin, can I start by paying tribute to James Kelly for all his hard work on the Justice Committee and indeed also on the subcommittee on policing. And I'm sure the committee wishes James well in any new role he now takes on. I'm also pleased to welcome to the committee Rhoda Grant MSP as a new member of the Justice Committee, and I invite her to declare any relevant interests. Good morning, Rhoda.
Good morning. I don't think I have any relevant interests, but I am a member of Unison, member of the Co-op Party, and I have the services of a care intern.
Thank you, Rhoda. Our next item on the agenda is to invite members to agree that I should write to the Bureau indicating that Rhoda Grant should become a member of the subcommittee on policing. A briefing paper on the process has been circulated by the clerks and is in our papers. Does anyone disagree with that? No member is indicating that they disagree, so I shall do that. Thank you very much. Our next item of business today is consideration of the following affirmative instrument, namely the Civil and Family Justice EU Exit Scotland Amendment, etc. Regulations 2020. And I welcome Ash Denham, MSP, the Minister for Community Safety, and her officials to our meeting, and I invite the Minister to make a brief opening statement on the instrument. Minister.
Thank you, Convener. Good morning, and good morning to the committee. I'd like to introduce the draft SSI, the Civil and Family Justice EU Exit Scotland Regulations of 2020. And the areas covered by the regulations are varied, including provisions on cross-border mediation, civil status documents, legal services, legal aid, family law, and transitional matters. These regulations are a consequence of the UK's departure from the EU and the forthcoming end of the implementation period. And the regulations reflect that simple arrangement between the UK and the EU member states as a consequence of EU provisions that will no longer exist. So the regulations will revoke legislation which partially implemented the EU regulation on cross-border mediation, as the reciprocity on which the mediation directive is based will no longer apply. And the regulations will also amend legislation which implemented the EU regulation on legal aid, as again, reciprocity will no longer apply. And the regulations will invoke an SSI on fees charged for issuing multilingual translation aids as under the EU regulation on the mutual acceptance of civil status documents. And the regulations also make some amendments to two existing EU exit SSIs which are not yet in force. And finally, the regulations make some transitional provisions in respect of matters and procedures begun but not completed before the end of the implementation period to continue existing legislation in relation to such cases. The Scottish Government considers that EU exit is not beneficial for Scotland. However, we need to implement relevant measures to address issues that are arising from the UK's withdrawal from the EU. I'm grateful, Convener, for the opportunity to introduce this SSI.
Thank you very much, Minister. No member has indicated that they wish to ask any questions about this SSI, but if I've misunderstood that, now is everyone's opportunity. But there don't appear to be any questions, Minister. So the next item is formal consideration of the motion in relation to this affirmative instrument. The Delegated Powers and Law Reform Committee has considered and reported on the instrument, and it had no comments to make. So the motion will be moved with an opportunity for formal debate if that is necessary. The motion is 23183 that the Justice Committee recommends that the Civil and Family Justice EU Exit Scotland Amendment, etc. Regulations 2020 draft be approved. I invite the Minister to move the motion. I think we need to have the Minister's microphone unmuted for her to move it formally, but I heard that is moved. Thank you, Minister. So the question is that motion 23183 in the name of Ash Denham be approved. Are we all agreed? No member is indicating that they are not agreed, so that is agreed. I invite the committee to agree to delegate to me publication of a short factual report on our deliberations on this SSI today. Thank you. And that concludes consideration of the SSI. I thank the Minister and her officials for attending our meeting this morning. Thank you and have a good day. Our next item of business today is consideration of a negative instrument, namely the Criminal Justice EU Exit Scotland Amendment Regulations 2020. There is a paper outlining in detail this SSI in our pack for the meeting today. Do members have any comments on this SSI? No member is indicating that they have any comments on this SSI. So are members content not to make any comments to the Parliament on this SSI? Members are content. So that concludes consideration of secondary instruments this morning. The next item of business is to consider feedback from the recent meeting of the subcommittee. We've got a paper from John Finney and the clerks, which is a summary of discussions. Could I thank John Finney and the clerks for that paper? And John, could I invite John to make any comments on it if he wishes to? Do members have any comments, or are we content merely to note the paper? Does any member have any comments? It doesn't look like any member has any comments. So thank you, John. Thank you, officials, for that. And that brings the public part of this meeting to a close. The committee will meet again a week today on the 8th of December, when we expect to continue discussions on our Stage 1 report on the Hate Crime and Public Order Bill. I now close this public part of the meeting and invite members to move over to Microsoft Teams, where we will continue in private. Thank you.